like 5 or 6 of us. We all had, just rolling. We had like 2 30-packs of High Life, kicking it, and
champagne beers.
And one of the, it's not an album. Well, I'm gonna count it as an album. But one of the things that we listen to consistently would be the Menace Society soundtrack.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's a classic album.
It is.
I think it's a classic soundtrack, in a classic album in the soundtrack category.
Yeah.
Or especially in black music. It's almost every song on there is something that you really do remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you can kind of remember doing, barbecuing or hanging out, or trying to holler some chick or something to eat to different songs. That was like really a soundtrack for that summer.
It was like you didn't have a choice.
It was kind of everywhere too.
Well, if you could listen to Top of the World, and not, you know what I'm saying, just
get that feel,
to just
get that
cool
feel,
back, sit back, and just, smoke one or drink one or just hang out, cool. Oh man,
yeah. That's what it make you do. It make you just the sun's out, for real. Let me drive my clean ass car. Let me just give you a feel.
Yeah, the whole soundtrack I thought was pretty solid. From top to bottom, even with both versions of Trigger Got No Heart.
No heart.
They gave you the clean version, and then they gave her, the Spice Wiggity one version. Yeah, man, that was just and maybe I'm too connected to it from the time and the memories of what was going on around it for it to really be. But I think that of the soundtracks of my time, that's probably the best soundtrack.
I think there's a generational divide there.
How so?
Okay,
because
so, and you tell me if you feel the same way, since we graduated at the same time. So, it felt like, because you said that was 94 or 95. I can't remember, but it was even freshman to sophomore year that soundtrack came out.
That was
It was like, I want to say it was 95.
Okay, so that would have been like sophomore year, right? Or the end of sophomore year. So,
Menace Society came out in 93, yo.
No, was it 93?
93.
93?
I was gonna say I think I was a freshman.
Freshman then, okay, freshman. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. The Menace Society soundtrack was like everything that all the juniors and seniors bumped.
Right.
You know what I mean? We would bump it, but it's not like we went out and bought it.
We bought it. I bought it. The
it was
CD and the tape.
It was a blend for us because
CD and the tape.
And you gotta remember, you talking about 93. There's a lot of albums came out that year.
But
that was one of the ones. There's other ones.
But in terms of soundtracks, though, Menace was kind of like the precursor or the jump off to us getting hip hop oriented movies with hip hop oriented soundtracks. Because it set off. We had Belly.
No, before Belly. The Tupac movie, the basketball movie, Above the Rim.
Above
the Rim soundtrack. That one rings more to me.
Well, but see, the reason I disagree about the Above the Rim soundtrack as a whole is because name 5 songs off of it.
No, that's real though. That's real. And I was gonna
Tupac, nigga.
Pain. I was gonna say that was a very hitish soundtrack. It wasn't.
The hits that it had were tremendous.
Yeah.
It was hits.
Unfortunately, like 3 of them were already tremendous hits before they were on the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's something good. So like, but you had like a Butter Realm, Poetic Justice, Men's Society, Master P movies, Belly, How High. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had
Boys in the Hood
soundtracks, Boys in the Hood. You know, you had soundtracks that was like, so.
Well, really, Boys in the Hood would have been the precursor for that, because that was Boys
that
in
was
the
the
Hood was
first
really
one.
the.
It really did have,
Or New Jack
New
City.
Jack City.
I was gonna say New Jack City,
But
yeah.
actually, it would be Boys in the Hood because it came out before New Jack City.
No.
Side note.
New Jack City came out first.
91. New Jack City's 91.
New Jack City came out senior year after Boys in the Hood. Because Boys in the Hood came out in the summertime, but before senior year.
Boys in the Hood did come out summer.
Before our
I
senior
remember
year.
was gonna take us to go see that. Yeah.
And then New Jack City came out like later on after that. Like around Christmas or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Side note, since we're over on this end, who's that? Fucking 2 Live Crew has an interesting track on that New Jack City soundtrack. Dick in the Dirt.
Yeah.
There was like some gangster shit.
There was some shit on there.
They were quote unquote actually rapping.
Yeah. I was like, who is this? Got my back against the wall. And my dick is in the dirt. Alright.
But everybody who was on that New Jack City soundtrack, you know, took a little gritty edge to what they did. Even Levert, when they was doing the Stevie Wonder riff, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They took that and then they dirtied it up. And it was
for the love of money.
Whew. And then took that shit from their daddy and uncle.
That's what's up, man. That's
But hold on, which soundtrack?
No. We're to have a Benz, New Jersey Drive.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's the one I was thinking about.
That was
I couldn't think of it.
That one was that's a solid soundtrack. That's a super duper.
Volume 1 or 2.
Well, see, one of them was the old school, one of them was the new school stuff.
That's right.
I think one was the emo.
I think one was the new school stuff, and then 2 was the old school stuff.
Okay, that sounds about right. I definitely drove around the New Jersey Drive soundtrack. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I did, but I found myself doing stupid shit when I be driving the New Jersey. I be mashing, doing donuts, and peeling out, trying to drift and shit. And I'm like, oh man, let me stop listening to this and start listening to something else. Because I'm driving like I stole it, but I still got like 3 payments left on this bitch.
Right. Or in my case, I'm gonna have to put this back together.
Man.
When I'm done.
And at that time in life, I wouldn't put no cars back together.
And then you wasn't pushing that Beamer at the time, bro?
Yeah, I was pushing the Beamer. Well, I had a Benz too, but I was pushing the Beamer heavy. Yeah, I was pushing the Beamer heavy. So yeah, I was definitely not. I was already drawing enough attention. GPD out there sweating me on my ball sack.
Alternating.
Man. Learn how to use the auctions, fool.
We just talking about like hip hop albums.
I'm not genre specific.
Oh man, well, y'all forgot one. You know, two for real.
We ain't forgot nothing. We just
okay.
Started.
Well, I'm gonna see if y'all say it.
What you say now?
Purple Rain, nigga. Shit.
That's kind of one that's one of the.
Okay. What about Batman then?
The Batman soundtrack is actually.
Batman soundtrack is solid. It's real solid.
Got a couple of them. Y'all forgot about them.
Well, I was gonna say you brought up having an album
soundtrack
represent a time or a period or a season.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying that was, to me, that's why I equate the Minister Society soundtrack as a classic, because a lot of, you know, classic shit, quote unquote. I could really script a movie about that summer.
Right.
And
you know, I mean, I think overall, not late 89, 90 to early 2000, maybe 99. That just felt like a different time. I mean, it was open for the creative, for the contribution. I mean, she was actually making CDs, right? So you can actually print up something and go run to some folks and put it in their hand and get your stuff out and spread it out. You know what I mean? And like, people was open to the contribution. You know what I mean? And so people was looking for. I think people, even if they wasn't looking, I think some were looking, but people were just wanting to fill that add-on. Like, what else would enhance the? So if something else caught, cause like your homie Domino, right? The Ghetto Jam, right?
Hey, Ghetto Jam was a coke
already, bro. Now
and he had like 2 or 3 songs on that album that were real solid.
You get what I'm saying? But where that sparked from? That sparked from the movie, the time. You know what I mean? Getting the connection. It's, okay. So what else? And that's how we found. So we were open. I feel like now you get these preset playlists. You get stuff already put together. So the room for discovery ain't. I don't know. Don't seem as open as.
Well, that's the plus minus of the internet. You know, the plus, you, at this point, you know, you can just Google in whoever it is you're looking for, the whole discography
pops up, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unless they, you know,
the deep dives ain't as deep as you think they are.
Unless they a jackass about the internet stuff like I am and just real slow and don't have your stuff up like you should, you know, my bus. But I got physicals if you want them.
Guilty. We working on it.
But you know, that's the minus. Everybody can just upload their stuff to the internet, and now all of a sudden, you know, when you type in old school boom bap hip hop, as opposed to just 50 to 75, 100 act names coming up. Maybe that in the thousands. Maybe that in the 100,000s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody can do what they want now. So that's
anybody can be. Yeah, that's real. Anybody can be.
So you have to be able to. So now it's more so about the ability to sift through.
Yeah, appropriately filter.
And find what it is that you vibe with and that you jive with. Because otherwise, you're going to wind up being stuck. And there's nothing wrong with it, but you'll be, just listening to 1994.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, for the rest of your life. And then nothing compares. And, there's no growth in yourself. And you become a bitter old man. You can't listen to new music and appreciate it for...
Hey, if you want to be that dude that bumps in my projects, and that's all you play. Nothing wrong with that, bro.
Do that. Knock that cuckoo cow. Shit, we can all use the streams.
Already, money.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't knocking it. I'm just saying this, but it be those. It's a lot of those cats.
No, but real shit though. It's a homie next door to me. He relocated from Milwaukee. Since the ride and Jacob Blake, that kind of situation. But he sits in this ride and he bumps. I mean, nothing but that era. You hear Diggable Planets.
Damn.
You hear, Flavor Unit. You'll hear just really that era. He was playing Slick Rick.
But that's classic for them.
No doubt. But when I think about, he played some DMX stuff like that too. But I think, but to PL's point about folks finding what we call pocket, but yeah, they point of, hey, I done found it. I ain't listening for nothing, right?
Yeah.
I
guess, like you said, Nick gets stuck. But that's what you like. That's what
I would say, I know we weren't trying to stick to a format or something, but when you just mentioned the outline for what we were talking about, or in your circumstance, PL, what you were describing, I do have one album that no matter what, I feel like it's one of the most slept on albums. It's not slept on, but it's slept on in consideration for being one of the most classic albums in hip hop history, and especially in the history of Wu-Tang Clan. And that would be GZA Liquid Swords. Came out in late '95, and Cold World was one of the singles that came out of it, and they just lined up with the wintertime. Like he dropped it in the dropped it.
He did drop it in like October or something.
Yeah, man. It really set. They really placed it in the right time. It set the theme, the mood,
and it felt like it was dark and dreary.
Yeah.
But you said you felt like it was slept on, bro.
I don't think it was slept on.
I mean slept on as far as being
around here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe around here.
Absolutely did not get proper respect around here.
I don't think it was.
Hey, because Cass was up on Liquid Swords.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because by the time Liquid Swords came out, Cass was up on that.
But I think that album is the preeminent. It is the classic, the most classic Wu-Tang album.
Fourth Chamber.
Yeah, man. Camouflage Chameleon. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Mystery of Chess Boxing. Oh my goodness.
I mean, because when Cass found out that Method Man was on there, because it wasn't like, I don't think it was like listed on there. I think you kind of had to just peep it. You know what I mean?
If you wasn't listening,
you missed
the album. You wasn't going.
It was like Biggie and the What with Method Man was on there. Right. Like it wasn't, if you didn't look, yeah.
And that was also,
that shit was dope.
Yeah, it was.
If I remember correctly, Mathematics had a lot of the production duties on that album. In addition to the RZA produced tracks.
I mean, because that Stevie Wonder sample, like you talked about, bro, that Cold World, bro, that was...
Man.
Monsters, bro. That was monsters.
Yeah, man. I think that is a classic 1995 hip-hop album. If you can say what was hip-hop in 1995, you can drop Liquid Swords and somebody would be like,
all right,
I can see where somebody could say that. Yeah,
big boy, but big boy word dichotomy, right? Because I'm gonna tell you another one that was the same though, real talk, and that was Electric Relaxation. Because you could press play from the beginning
and
to
let it ride,
end, and you didn't skip nothing, dog, nothing.
I mean, it's like the Chronic, you know. But they need to just let it play.
Electric Relaxation, that was a let it play. You just press play. You know, as another one was Pete Rock and CL Smooth, the main ingredient. That was another one. Press play, let it go.
You know what album? For some reason, I have an issue. I know it's a classic album. Let me just before I get over my skis here. I know this is a classic album, right? But for some reason, in my pantheon of their discography, I don't give this album its proper due. Which is from 95 as well. No, is that 95 or 96? Outkast, AT-Aliens. That was late 95.
Yeah, you tripping.
AT-Aliens was like 95.
Yeah, 95.
Southern Play was like 92, 93.
It was 93, 94.
94.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not a classic album. It just did not sound like Southern Playlist Cadillac music.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we wasn't ready for them. We wasn't ready for that. For them to be that trend, because we didn't know every album they was gonna be sounding different.
Right.
So we wasn't ready for that mental shift. You know what I mean? But that album was, you press play, let it go.
Oh, no, it's cold.
AT-Aliens was actually, in my opinion, Outkast's most important album.
I agree. It is the turn. It is the beginning. It marks the turn.
It's not a turn. It's
or it marks the full expansion of their artistry.
They used Southern Playalistic as, you know what I'm saying, they changed the sound by taking it and making it Southern and keeping it, you know, bass lines and draws.
They ran their basic offense on that.
And that lured you in.
Let Andre go to the bucket whenever. But on AT-Aliens, sure.
AT-Aliens was the one where they said, all right, check it. We're going to swap out Horace Grant for Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
And y'all not going to understand it this year, you know what I'm saying? Until after we win these rings.
Yeah.
Good comparison.
Yeah.
Good comparison.
You're gonna be mad at us to swap for the change. You don't understand it. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be like, Dennis ain't gonna be able to hold it together. Blah blah blah. But without the change from Horace Grant to Dennis Rodman, they're not winning that second set of rings.
Absolutely.
I believe that.
Without AT-Aliens, you can't get Stankonia.
That's true.
But as a 16-year-old,
or without AT-Aliens, the acceptance of Stankonia would not be what it was.
What was the one? Was that Stankonia? Where they had their own side.
That was Love Below Speaker Box.
Yeah. That was cool.
That was the last Outkast album.
Aquemini is what I was thinking of. Aquemini was hot.
Hey, but okay. So, but I tell you, it's kind of hard to tell which one is the term between those two albums, between Aquemini and
it's AT-Aliens.
It is, but I agree that it's AT-Aliens.
When you go from Southern Playalistic to AT-Aliens, it's night and day.
Yeah, because I'm like, where's Players Ball 2?
Because
but not only that, I feel like
the mental shift is different. The mentality of AT-Aliens is different.
Man,
there's a higher vibration to that album. Don't get me wrong, Southern Playalistic is dope in the mug, but AT-Aliens
is on another level.
Actually speaks to you.
Absolutely.
And it's learning you something.
Hold on. Southern Playalistic learn you something too. You got to get up, get out, and get something.
Big Southern Playalistic, that. Of course, Big Rube like that.
But Southern Playalistic learned you something on the under.
No, we get up, get out, get something.
Yes, it was. We get up, and got. You know why? Because get up and get out was like number 13 on the album.
Okay.
So by the time you got to get up, get out, and get something, they telling you, hey nigga. You done sat around here listening to this goddamn album all goddamn day. You ain't done nothing. Get up, get out, get something.
Well, I just feel like...
and then AT-Aliens was like, hey, boom, message, boom, message, boom, message, boom, transformation. Because go back and listen, in Southern Playalistic, 3000 uses a lot of bitches, a lot of hoes. It's real, you know what I'm saying? Real street like with chicks, real pimp like attitude.
Definitely.
AT-Aliens, not so much.
Not so much, yeah.
And I was gonna say.
Okay, so hold on, wait. So can we say?
No, you good.
Hold on, cause so can we say that it was the progression of Andre that started the change? In AT-Aliens?
That's what I wanted to speak to. When you hear Crumbling Herb, you hear them dropping a wisdom for what they know for where they at.
Yeah.
Right? And the format is we ride our offense, but Drake take us to the cup, right? But on AT-Aliens, you hear the growth in both of them, in the content and what they wanted to speak to, but then also like the parody had been decreased. I felt like Big Boy was not. It was like Jordan and Pippen, right? I mean, it's like
that, you didn't know who was who.
That second go round, Pippen was just as much at that podium looking big as Mike was looking big on that first. You know what I mean? Like
what it was AT-Aliens showed you the differentiation between Dre and Big Boy. Mm-hmm. Both on the same level, both on the same vibration, but Andre wasn't necessarily speaking to quote unquote street niggas. You know what I'm saying? That AT-Alien, no, Andre wasn't. He
was just speaking.
He was speaking the street.
I hear what you're saying.
He wasn't speaking their language.
He wasn't speaking street.
So it was the other. So that's why he has the following he has now. You know, kind of hippie trippy cats, because that's how he was speaking. But he was speaking to street cats.
Yes.
He was just
had a different language to it.
He was just on some other stuff than they were accustomed to hearing it from. Big Boy was Andre's translator to a degree.
Yeah.
but they both were each other's translator.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because
I can dig that.
Hippie Dippies were afraid of how aggressive Big Boy sounded.
I can dig that.
Because Big Boy was spitting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
And he spit some pimp shit. You know, from
Hold on. You know, on that same tangent, you know another motherfucker album that's just like that, cold like that too, nigga. UGK, nigga. Underground Kings, nigga.
Yeah.
Hey, dog. Hey, because, you know, after that first one, there's a little break, right? But when that shit came back, nigga, like Pimp C came home, nigga, like them 2, 3, they dropped in a row, nigga, was like, nigga. But again, I feel like it's the same kind of precursor because when you got Underground Kings, like Pimp C was the pimp, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we coming down on the slab, what we doing, you know what I mean? What we doing, and you know, and Bun Beater, like, you know, but let me put a little game on you in a sophisticated way as Pimp C, like, listen here, little Thundercat, this how the game go, you know what I mean? But it's like when they came back though, they was there. They wasn't just talking street to street niggas either. Right. You know what I mean? That shit is dope, man. But it
which
just got me thinking
album?
about that.
I think Riding Dirty.
Riding Dirty, what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Riding Dirty, what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
But Too Hard to Swallow and Super Tight.
Riding Dirty.
Riding Dirty is the one.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Riding Dirty.
It's Riding Dirty.
Yeah, Riding Dirty.
Riding Dirty is. I mean, that's
it's classic, bro.
Yeah, Riding Dirty is the one.
That's Riding Dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a. Man, I had some good times that summer to Riding Dirty back.
I mean,
in
like
96.
you know, like hey, like just on that high school shit, bro. Just think about that time, like yeah, that was in the deck. I talked about the P Rock, CS Smooth, that kind of shit. But you know that's in the deck too, like Mobb Deep, bro, the Infamous. That was in the deck.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You felt like you had to have some Mobb Deep in '95 to be a legitimate hip hop fan. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
because Mobb Deep was Mobb Deep was a little bit of a bridge. You know, it was straight up New York hip hop. You know what I mean? So it had some universal appeal, but it was some grimy shit too. So you know what I mean? So gangsters around the world can listen to that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I'm gonna hit the fast forward button on you, because it's not many people that are doing albums today.
Okay.
A lot of people are putting albums out. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm making a point to notice because you said albums.
It's not people that are really putting albums together.
Right.
And I honestly believe that, on my personal appreciation list, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar is fighting the Chronic for number 1. That's how strongly I feel about To Pimp a Butterfly. It's
I've heard a few people say that though.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that though.
You don't get no pushback on
and
that.
I still haven't taken. It's still in the deck.
Well, okay.
It shows the evolution of West Coast and specifically LA hip hop.
That's what I was about to go to because I was trying to get around to the circle. I was hitting that East Coast, but I was gonna get to that West Coast because I'm gonna keep it real. If Ice Cube dropped the album, I bumped the shit out that motherfucker. From beginning to end, bro. I Want to Kill Sam, Death Certificate, nigga. The Predator, pick one, right? We bumped that shit. And then, you kind of had a couple or something. Like I love Razzcast. I thought Raz Assassination was like, you can just press play and let that go. You know what I mean? But I feel like what Cube was doing kind of set up for us to get what Kendrick was getting. Because you got lyrical content that was conscious, wasn't hitting you over the head conscious, you know what I mean? But was conscious in the sense of, nigga, be aware of this, be aware how this is affecting this, being aware of the shit, but I'm still also giving it to you from a real nigga perspective. Kendrick do that all damn day, you know what I mean? Yeah. But West Coast, that wasn't trend, you know what I mean? Now you don't think blink twice about that shit. Game was dope for that shit. You know what I mean? First album, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I love Razzcast though, because I mean, you wouldn't think, right? I mean, at that time too, when you really had East versus West, and then you know your South as a third counterpart, you was not thinking Razzcast was West Coast nothing. You just wasn't.
True. I thought Razzcast was from Miami, honestly.
After Miami Life, yeah.
Well, because of Miami Life, because of the Miami, but just it was just something about him. It just felt like not that he was doing cocaine, but it was just like cocaine hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the place I thought of when I thought of cocaine was always Miami back then. So I was always like, man, Ras Cat's got to be from like Miami or something. He's from Dayton or Daytona or something.
He got a 7 Series with a trunk full of booger sugar somewhere.
Man.
7 Series on it, yeah.
You know, shoot, hey, what am I? I'm kid from Kansas City. I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm trying to buy as many sources and word.
Hey, we gotta try and get Ras.
Yeah.
That's living legend right there, bro.
No doubt. Shout out.
But I want to swing back on that, because I'm gonna tell you, when we talking about albums, I felt like I could get albums from East Coast cats and press play and let that shit go. You know,
does that make them a classic? It's a few albums that I could personally sit and press play on the Crew Dirty 30 album, but I know that motherfucker ain't a classic.
Yeah, I can't ride the whole Crew 30 album, bro. I can't do it.
It can be a rugged listen. You have to, by the time you get to like number 17, 18.
By the time you get to Pronto, you were fucking
but
wore
Pronto
out.
is worth it.
It is though. It is. It's super worth it.
Pronto is so worth it.
It's super worth it.
You know what? I mean, okay, so like, yeah, I feel you, because there were albums that were like jump offs that led you to other albums that were classics. For example, I feel like Keith Murray Enigma. That's a classic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, formed my vision of what hip hop was. Yes, absolutely.
But you found that through what? Def Squad. And that shit was dope. You know what I mean? Because again, for all of us who loved EPMD, it was dope to get that kind of back to some degree with Eric Sermon and.
Well, and when the EPMD split up happened, I was straight up team Eric Sermon, and so so Eric dropped his solo album, and then Keith dropped after him, and that was like sustainability for me. You know what I mean? As far as hip hop legitimacy,
I couldn't go on I couldn't pick a side in the EPMD split, man. I just.
Only reason I picked the side is because I couldn't let go of the beats.
That's real.
Yeah, but
I couldn't let go of the beats.
You know what though? But as an MC, I felt more like PMD because it's like people always kind of viewed him as like the sidekick.
Man, that's because your name started with a P.
Dope, right?
No, I've always felt myself like MJG. You know, MJG spits bars.
Hold on, bro. We ain't even.
Well, we were gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
Oh, Coming Out Hard is a classic album.
Classic.
Let's do it.
Classic.
Because we listened to damn near all of Coming Out Hard after the last show we recorded.
It's a classic album, and Space Age Pimpin' is a classic album.
Hey, and let me go ahead and do my.
They're split up because MJG's solo album, No More Glory.
That was a solid album.
And listen,
but I don't think it
Ball
was classic.
Lost.
And listen.
Lost was a double album, which would have been better off as a single album. I'm not a big fan of hip hop double albums.
Double and triple joints and shit.
Hold on, was it a double or was it a triple?
I thought it was a triple.
It was a triple.
Lost?
Yeah, that was a triple album.
Yeah, Lost was 3 CDs.
It sure was.
There was 3 8 balls
sure?
in that motherfucker. Yeah.
Man, you don't ask me because you got Google right there.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, No More Glory though. Dog, that shit was.
That was hard. That Stevie Wonder riff he had was
but he had shit
that
like
girl.
But he had shit, nigga. That was dope. We had like In the Middle of the Night. Bro, there's another one on there. I can't think off top. Hey man, but yeah. But that.
Yep, that was Lost was a triple album.
Ooh, that's
Yes, it was. Yeah.
They circuit. Suave House had a nice little, cause Mr. Mike is like,
and we played a bunch of Mr. Mike last.
Mr. Mike is like a down south Ras Cast, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
like you would not expect that to be from that region based off what you're given or how it's presented, right?
No, as soon as I heard Mr. Mike,
he's from Memphis.
No, But
as soon as I heard that voice, I was like, oh, he's from Memphis.
But again, what was presented was not that the lyricists was stagnated to one area. Everybody else is kind of some dope rapping.
Mm-hmm.
When you would get these breakthrough cats on that lyricism shit, not that niggas didn't have dope lyrics, but just on that lyricism shit, like Raz Kaz is a nigga nobody will ever disrespect the fuck with. Nobody's ever gonna. You're not gonna touch that one, right? You know what I mean?
Not really, no.
And if you would have just, put that on a generic ass resume, I think stereotypically motherfuckers would not have picked West Coast, right? I think same thing with Mr. Mike, right? You know what I mean? Now when you hear him and you hear the texture of the music, you already know. You know what I'm saying? But I think just his talent, you would be somewhere.
Yeah, I think beat selection has a whole lot to do with that. With Raz Kaz, because as far as my opinion, this quintessential track is Soul on Ice remix, and that's Diamond D. So that just makes you straight up feel like it's an East Coast.
Well, don't get it twisted, because one of hip hop's most classic producers is from Houston, Texas, and that's DJ Premier.
Yeah, but he wasn't DJ Premier until he hit New York.
Hey, it don't matter. It don't matter, cause he was still making the exact same beats he was making when he became DJ Premier when he hit New York. But he was in and from Houston, Texas. Home of.
Hold on, that is an interesting. That's a very interesting. What if? What if Premier never left Texas?
What is the name of their album?
How would that have shaped it? How would that have shaped it?